to help the families of St. Jude.
Thank you! The Jennifer Hudson Show is here.
You're going to bless people every day.
Something hits you in your heart.
We're doing it all.
Sponsored locally by TVFCU.
So now that we are deep into summer, and I'm sure your garden is doing beautifully, you're sharing tomatoes with all of your friends, and you hate to see it come to an end as the season eventually goes away, it means the time for us to have June Pewitt on the show with the Hamilton County Extension, because just like Santa Claus, she comes every summer.
That's right.
To let us know about how we can do canning, and freezing classes have become a big thing. So good to see you.
Yes, great to be here.
It really has become kind of a ritual.
It has.
For us.
It has, because it's so important, Julie, that people learn how to use recommended methods when it comes to canning foods. Because just think, we've seen in the media recently about the frozen foods with bacteria that can be harmful.
Right.
So imagine if you have a food sitting around in a canning jar all year at room temperature, and that bacteria was not destroyed,
Right.
and it grows. So that can be deadly, or it can cause blindness, paralysis. So we want to make sure you do that the right way.
What I love so, among many things at the Extension, though, is how passionate all of you are about what you do, and education is at the center of it all. So if I'm remembering correctly, even when COVID hit, you found a way to do these classes virtually.
Oh, we did.
And you found a whole new audience because people were in the kitchen.
Absolutely.
And they loved it.
Absolutely. And people have changed the way they learn, too. So, and we do offer our classes, some during the day, in the morning, some afternoons, some evenings, and some Saturdays. Except one of our Saturdays classes is already filled.
Wow.
So if people are interested, they probably want to go ahead and get registered up.
And
So
there's a bit of the schedule you can see as June talks about it. So and if you sign up, for example, on the July 11th date, is that one class sufficient, or do you sign up for as many as you
no,
want?
just the one class. Hopefully I'm not going to fail anybody.
Okay.
So. But what we do is it's more demonstration. We don't have the capacity for hands-on, and we have a glass cooktop. So if you've got a glass cooktop at home, you need to check it out to see if you can even process food in canners. So we talk about that in the class as well.
Okay, the products that you've brought with you today, the supplies, if you will, if you sign up for the class and you don't yet own these, that's okay, because you can then go purchase once you're through?
Yeah, that's a big part of it, is we explain the plethora of equipment that's needed, and it's really not that complicated. And we usually start with the canner, and that's, you know, the big pot that you're going to use to can with. And you've got two choices. This one, if you're going to do tricky things like vegetables, you know, like green beans, you need to pressurize them. So it's got a fancy rim and lid that goes on it, and it just has a tray that sits in it. The only purpose of that is to keep the jars off the hot bottom of the pot. And then the lid will have, and Julie, people are trying to recycle their great-grandmother's canners. I'm all about recycling, but if they were made before the 70s, they probably don't have these emergency pop-off valves, and that's going to keep it from, you know, exploding.
Right, right.
So it's modern things are good sometimes.
Okay. Love your grandmother, but don't use her pressure cooker.
Yeah,
Okay.
and people are buying at yard sales and so forth, so you don't know what you're getting, if it's going to hold a true seal or not.
I might have the terminology wrong. Is this a pressure cooker?
No, it is not.
Okay, because my mom always used a pressure cooker.
Yes,
This is
you
different.
can cook in a pressure canner, but you cannot can in a pressure cooker.
Okay,
They're usually too small, and they're just not equipped to build the pressure and hold it for the length of time that you do need in the canning.
Okay.
But it does have a rubberized gasket that needs to be replaced periodically, and we talk about how you can find those. And then you know you're going to get the pressure built up by one of the gauges, and this is a dial gauge that's got numbers on it, so 0 to 20. Or, Julie, hold that one a second, and I'm going to pull out the weighted gauge. All this is, it's 3 pieces of metal that fit together. If you're going to process something at 5 pounds pressure, You're going to put this on the top of the lid, and it's going to jiggle just
Oh,
like
that's
a
what the pressure cooker. Yeah.
Exactly. If you're going to process at 10 pounds pressure, you put on another weight, and 15 pounds, you put on yet another weight, and they just jiggle. That's all they do. That means your pressure is being maintained at that pound.
So I'm kind of stupid. So if I took your class, would you teach me if I was going to can green beans, for example, I would know from your class what the pressure would need to be?
Oh yeah, and
Okay.
all of the books that we have, you're going to get a canning book, the UT canning book, and then I'm going to tell you where you can go and buy the USDA book. But Julie, I tell people not to buy it because they're constantly doing research and updating things, and you can download every recipe for free.
Oh, wow.
So if you're doing a chutney, you may not want to know every jam recipe in the book.
Right.
So
okay, let me pause you a minute
Yeah.
because you just mentioned free, and so much of what y'all offer at the extension is free. These do have a nominal fee, right? These classes?
yeah, they're $20 because we do have to pay for printing, and we're going to do some tasting too, Julie. And you know what? I don't have time to do things the true method. So I found all these wonderful products that I've used, and I'm going to share with the class. Like there's a freezer salsa that is terrific.
And I was going to ask you before I have to let you run, on the freezing side of things, is it a little bit faster to do?
It is, and we're going to tell you tricks about how you can get more stuff to fit compactly in that limited amount of space.
Nice.
And if you want to buy a new refrigerator freezer or freezer, we'll talk about that too.
And I want to say that over the years, you've talked about the cans. You were talking about sealing and everything.
Yeah.
Don't you have to be careful with the cans as
You
well?
do, the jars is what we call
Jars,
them.
sorry.
But you need to use one that is made for canning, and then we recommend the 2-piece lid, and we'll talk all about these. This you can use over and over again, but the actual lid itself is a one-time deal, and it has a sealing compound on it that forms that suction that, well, first of all, you got to put it in one of the pots to get all the air out of it so bacteria can't grow, and then it creates the vacuum so bacteria can't get in and
Okay.
grow.
So your $20 is almost like that Aldi quarter, right? You just put it in and then your savings start. You pay her your $20 to come to the class, and then the fun begins and the savings start because you are using, there's no waste. You're using produce from either your garden or perhaps you get some locally at a store, but then you get to hold on to it and cut down that grocery bill as the months go along.
Absolutely.
Good to see you.
You too.
One day I'll get it straight. You go to hamilton.tennessee.edu to sign up for the classes.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And the one Saturday's already full, so don't waste your time by lingering. And you can also call, I think, to do it, can't you, Jen?
You can, and we will take checks. You can mail them or drop them off at the office.
The way it ought to be, 309-8560. And before I let you run, is there a virtual option for these?
Not this year. We're
Okay.
going to try in person.
Everything will be there at the extension office off of Bonnie Oaks, correct?
Exactly.
It's a beautiful spot. Go see it. It all begins on July 11th. Sign up now and happy summer.
Ashley Stars and Stripes sale is happening now. Don't miss instant savings on select items up to 50% off, or save 20% off store-wide. Plus, get special financing for 60 months. Shop and save today, only at Ashley.